Hey, it's Dr. Jason Hall, jhallmd.com. We're live again. It's first Friday of the month. January, we took a little time off because it was the 1st of January, and it's always busy around here the 1st of January. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about thread lifting. So I'm going to move the camera a little closer here. We're going to talk a little bit about thread lifting today. Thread lifts they've been around for a while. They've started getting talked about a lot more recently because of some of the advances in technology of some of the threads. 10, 15 years ago, thread lifting got a really bad name because the threads that were used were permanent. And people were having problems over time when those threads, permanent threads, got put in, of them actually wearing through the skin. And you can imagine that kind of sucks, honestly. It could cause little erosions in areas on the face that you really don't want to have to see. So now some of the newer threads, and we've been using the threads from the Nova threads, which are dissolving sutures. And I've got one here that you can see. This is one of their smaller sutures. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but it's a dissolving little purple stitch that comes loaded right there. See it? You can maybe see it against me better, yeah. But it comes loaded on a needle. And what we do is we take these, we numb these areas up, and we put the needles in back around the hairline and the sideburns and kind of the lateral part of the cheek, and then put that needle down to where we want the pull, move the needle back, and this thread has tiny little hooks that are designed into it, so that once we get that thread where we want it, we can kind of pull a little bit and scoot things back to give us a little bit of a lift. We've had a number of patients here within the last couple of weeks. We just started offering this at 1st of January, and we've had some in the last couple of weeks. They've gotten a really nice result. Now, it's not a surgical result. That's pretty obvious, but you don't have the surgical downtime with it. Typically, we need to get a couple of threads in on each side. The patients that we've treated so far average anywhere from say 4 to 10 threads per side, or total. So 3 to 5 per side, to really get a nice result. It works really well on eliminating this little jowl fat here. Also can help with the marionette lines and even some of the nasolabial folds. And those are difficult areas to treat non-surgically. Traditionally, those are really only the things that we could address with surgery, with either a facelift or a facelift in combination with some other things, fat injections and things like that. So this is really, the thread lifts have really been a nice addition to the practice. Then the other question is, well, it's not surgery, how long does it last? And typically what the company has told us is that it'll last anywhere between 6 months and a year and a half. Obviously, we've only had this here in my practice for the last month, so we've seen a great result in a month, but all we have to go on is kind of what the manufacturer tells us now at this point. Other people that have been using it, some colleagues and friends of mine who use this in their office, say they're getting about 9 months to a year out of a thread lift. Obviously, it depends on the patient, depends on what we're actually trying to treat, but it's been working pretty well. There are 2 types of threads. I showed you this one with the little hooks on it. There are also smaller ones, and I don't have an open one here to show you, but this, you can see they're smaller, and these threads don't have the little hooks on them. They're smooth, and they are really good in places where we would traditionally use a filler. Fine lines, typically around the mouth, around the crow's feet area that are left over after Botox. Those little smooth threads, we can put those in right in that little line, and it's really kind of neat to watch them work. They eliminate those little lines immediately. And then they also cause your body to kind of develop some of its own collagen as that thread goes away, to minimize the appearance of that line in the future. So we like to kind of combine those two things with some filler or some Botox if we need it, to really provide a nice result here in the office without surgery. And we've seen that the threads have really been a good addition to our practice. Kind of lastly, you can't have a conversation about this without talking about cost. And we have that stuff listed on our pricing page. So if you're watching this now, if you're watching this later, and are interested, we kind of classify it in 3 ways. We kind of have the small, medium, and large package, just to avoid any confusion. And it all depends on how many threads you need. So you can head over to the pricing page. It's on the top of our homepage. If you just kind of scroll over as far to the right as you can, and you can check that out over there. So other things, today was really more of a Threadlift discussion, since that's been kind of the new news in the practice for the past month. The other thing that has really been great has been our online scheduling. That has been awesome for patients. We are using kind of an online booking tool. So if you're on the pricing page, you can scroll right next door and drop down. There's a little drop down menu there where you can schedule Botox, filler, even some laser treatments. You can go ahead and just schedule those online right from your phone. It's made it super easy, and we're going to be able to expand that to more of our surgical and non-surgical consultations and things over the course of the next quarter or two. So anyway, that's about it for today. We have got a giveaway coming on Instagram. We're going to be giving away a little Botox. So check that out, and we will check in with you guys here the first Friday of next month. So thanks for sharing a little bit of your lunch break with us, and we'll see you guys soon.